Hello, welcome to Vocal Pedagogy. Today I will be giving you a lecture on the psyche of singing and then covering ideas on how to find teaching space and creating your personal identity in the community that you will possibly be teaching in. Alright, the psyche of singing. What does psychology mean? The word psychology is the combination of two terms, ology, which is the study of, and psyche, the soul or the mind, which altogether is the study of the soul or the mind. Psychology is the study of how we behave. It helps to define why we do what we do and why we act in a specific way as a group of people as well as an individual. When it comes to singing, there may be something that you run into, and you may read this in your book before Thursday in the basics of vocal pedagogy, and it's called the psychological web. The mental ability to make a learning process difficult, and or the entanglement in one's mind to make progress or constructive development incapable of happening. So it's basically coordination of what you know in your mind to make it happen with your body. So sometimes you may run into a psychological web, but don't let that fret you. You will just have to slowly think through it and know that eventually you'll overcome that specific thing in your mind. How do you view yourself as a singer? Psychologically, the very first person is a novice. This is the newest kind of singer, someone who maybe just discovered that they're a singer later in life, but naturally concerned about their native endowment for singing. These people usually have a small percentage of becoming professional because singing is seen as a leisure activity like reading, sports, and going to the movies. Then you have the developing person. This person has some formal training, genetic and basic talent, someone who is still able to compensate with somewhat secure vocal technique, mediocre or solid musicianship, like being able to read music or plays another instrument or the piano, and pretty good expressive performance skills. Then there's the teachable student. Has a positive attitude and accepts their own voice. This person takes constructive criticism well to make vocal deficiencies improve and has the will to continue to sing better. I consider all three of you like that. So, I appreciate that all of you are very teachable, and that you continue to be like that, especially if you decide to continue to study the voice even after you finish your studying here. And then the fourth type of person is a professional. Normally confident about what is sung and how it is sung. Overall, they are sure about all of their skills and strengths, are constantly strengthening their weaknesses, because like anyone, they realize that no one is perfect, but would like to be as close to perfect as possible. A few things that I would like to recommend you do at some point in your life in creating a better imagery of yourself is these two exercises. Videotaping yourself while you're practicing just to see your expressions, and I know I've said this in the past, but it really does help. And I like to watch videos of myself basically to critique myself and to help me know what I need to change to become a better performer and better presenter of all the songs that I sing. And number 2, observe other successful singers. People who have performed often know how to create a mood, they know how to respond to the crowd, and they have a very good idea of their own imagery of their self as well. So I highly recommend that in observing other successful performers. In your book, it talks about something called mental imagery, and I just kind of talked about it a little bit. And the long definition of it on page 17 is: mental imagery provides the very plan and purpose of vocal expression. The formation of sounds of the voice and their adequate projection are direct out-picturings of these underlying concepts and vocal expression. And that is therefore imagery. Basically, it is the mind that sings, not the voice. You can say or you can think, since your voice always follows your thoughts. Hence, we must learn to sing in thought, for the tone is embedded in the idea that produces it. And then my simple version of this is the ability to recall in your head what you have learned and bring it into fruition through singing it. Now, there are 4 perception modes in singing. I need you to know all 4 of these because it does kind of have to do with the mental imagery as well. The first one is visual. This is the seeing, the mental imagery. It's things that you can actually see, and it possibly may be you singing to someone. So that's a perception mode in singing. Then there's the analytical. This is the thinking approach. It involves how the voice functions physiologically and acoustically. Sometimes when I'm practicing, I close my eyes when I'm doing the analytical to kind of really figure out what muscles are working while I'm singing, or trying to remember the words. Kinesthetic. This is the feeling. This involves awareness of physical sensations associated with body movement, muscle tension, and relaxation. Then lastly, the aural. Hearing displays immediate feedback to sounds being produced. As a teacher, you will need to help your student develop a good ear for their true vocal sound. This can happen through recording their lessons, and that is one huge reason why I have all of you record your voice lessons. Listening to them and or watching them, it will help them hear and see what others have observed and give them a more realistic perception of themselves. It will lead them to make certain and necessary behavioral changes that will lead to steady improvement, and for them to accept instructions from the teacher. So, to me, the most important really is the aural, but all 4 of these are very important as far as having the perception modes in singing. Now, what are the concepts in singing? This is another definition in the book. The act or power of forming ideas, notions, opinions, or concepts, which are more complex ideas formed by mentally combining many characteristics into a whole. The concepts we have about ourselves and our singing are derived from the unique way each of us perceives a thing. The concepts in singing are: number 1, each singer has a unique sound. It basically needs to be explored, discovered, and developed. Number 2, some singers experience vocal burnout due to high volume singing early in their career. Therefore, they have short singing careers. Number 3, singers need to develop balanced vocal behavior through diligent practice and positive yet realistic vocal self-concept. So when you recommend practice, push them to the extent that they will improve, but not overdo the practice. Now, how to help the student be motivated for the journey. Preference is for them to practice and make some sacrifices on certain activities over other things. Enthusiasm for the future. persistence to help them reach their goals and help them develop a good work ethic, and optimism over pessimism. Pessimists tend to blame their problems on themselves and their nature, where an optimist will see the problem as a journey to the end result. And have a plan. Have a short-term and long-term calendar for goals. All right, and I will give you the ideas for finding a place to teach on the next video.